Happy 2025. To everyone but me, it would seem.
Is it really how everybody mistakes your weirdness for coolness?
Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Natalie Megan. This is Weirdo Book Club. And I got a new intro. Who is she? New intro, new hair, new set.
New year, new look, new page.
But some things never change because if it's not broke, don't fix it. Except it is broke. I am broken. Cue Amy Lee. Today we will be discussing Credence by Penelope Douglas. I have had this book on my radar since, 2022 when I first joined Book Talk. Everybody over there seems to love this book. Or at the very least, they are chattering about it. And that's not what led me to read it. No, what led me to read it is a patron named Rivka. Rivka, if you're watching this, thank you. Thank you so much for your commission. Full disclosure, this book changed me in a negative way. But if you're looking for a hobby that will change you in a positive way and enrich you as a person, today's sponsor Skillshare can help you do that.
It's the beginning of a brand new year after all, so why not use it to explore your creativity and learn something new? Something that will challenge you, something that can't hurt you. With thousands of creative classes in countless categories designed by creatives for creatives and ranging from beginner to advanced, I'm certain you can find something fun, stimulating, and enjoyable to learn and explore. I've personally been really wanting to get back into drawing. I love drawing and I just haven't been doing it a lot lately because I've been reading so much stuff. But in effort to balance out all the negative repercussions that come along with my reading these days, I've been trying out the Drawing is Important, Develop a Sketchbook Habit in 30 Days course. And so far, so good. I feel like when I'm being creative, I'm definitely at my best. So it's always fun for me to get back into something that I've enjoyed in the past. And Skillshare helps me do that.
The first 500 people to use my code in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. And with their help, you can find a hobby that will make your life better, a skill that will enrich your life in some way, unlike the skills and hobbies I find myself at the mercy of. Thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Let's get on with it, because if we don't, I fear I may just stall out like an old Chevy and never run again. We're going to start out with some disclaimers, as we always tend to do. The first one is always the same. This review will contain spoilers, opinions, and general shit-talking. I will be reading it so you don't have to. I will be ruining the entire thing because we're going to deep dive into it. That's what they said. So if you plan to read this book and don't want it spoiled, or you've already read this book and love it in a way that will make you act weirdly towards a stranger on the internet who doesn't like it the way you do, or if you're the author or friends of the author or just diehard fans of the author, you might not want to stay around for this might not be for you, and that's okay. This book wasn't for me. Maybe my review isn't for you. That's a mutual understanding we can both agree on, right? If you're still here, I'm assuming 2 things. 1, that you want to be here, and 2, you'll behave. Disclaimer number 2, pains me to say, but this book involves family members, albeit not biologically related ones, getting it on with one another. More specifically, it is a young 17-year-old girl, her estranged and until recently unknown to her uncle, and his 2 biological children. And if that's not something you want to hear about, me neither. Maybe this isn't for you. You need to take care of you, and you know what you can handle and what you can't. And if you choose to stay, I just wanted to let you know what you're in for. So Credence by Penelope Douglas is a 560-page standalone dark white shoes romance novel about a teenage girl keeping it all in the family. It was originally published in January 2020. That really was a rough year, wasn't it? And it is available on Kindle Unlimited as of this recording. Aren't you thankful? Are you not entertained? Let's read the synopsis together, okay? Tiernan de Haas doesn't care about anything anymore. The only child of a film producer and his starlet wife, she's grown up with wealth and privilege, but not love or guidance. Thank God she'll get some of that later on, am I right? Shipped off to boarding schools from an early age, it was still impossible to escape the loneliness and carve out a life of her own. The shadow of her parents' fame followed her everywhere. And when they suddenly pass away, she knows she should be devastated. But has anything really changed? She's always been alone, hasn't she? Jake Vanderberg, her father's stepbrother and her only living relative, assumes guardianship of Tiernan, who is still 2 months shy of 18. Excuse me. Sent to live with him and his 2 sons, Noah and Caleb with a K, in the mountains of Colorado. Tiernan soon learns that these men now have a say in what she chooses to care and not care about anymore. That is a sentence. As the 3 of them take her under their wing and teach her to work and survive in the remote woods far away from the rest of the world, she slowly finds her place among them and as a part of them. She also realizes that lines blur and rules become easy to break when no one else is watching. One of them has her, the other one wants her, but he's going to keep her. Alright, So the warning. There was a link to trigger warnings in the front of the book. So here are those warnings that were listed on the author's website. Misogynistic behavior, power imbalance, group sex, sexual violence, dubious consent, suicide, child neglect, domestic abuse, sexual harassment, and bondage. Anyone who believes such content may upset them is encouraged to consider their well-being when choosing whether to continue reading. Pretty straightforward stuff there. No problems yet.
Hello from the Void, doing really great right off the bat. I'm not real sure why incest wasn't in the trigger warnings. I understand that there's no biological relation, but this is a very incestuous little situation we got here, and it's odd that it's not included. Onward we go.
Chapter 1, Tiernan. So we open to Tiernan, and she is painting us quite a picture. She's at home, staring silently out the bedroom window at the lone tire swing that hangs from a tree in her front yard. And the paramedics have shown up. Why have the paramedics shown up? Well, Tiernan found her parents, Hans and Amelia, this morning, and they are no longer with them.
He wore his favorite Givenchy suit, and she was in the Oscar de la Renta gown she wore to the Cannes Film Festival in 2013. He had cancer. He was dying. They knew, and my mother decided not to let him leave without her. So she decided that there was nothing else without him. Nothing else. They didn't leave me a note. They dressed up. They put the dog out. They scheduled Mireille, I think that's how you say her name, it's her nanny, to come late this morning instead of early. They didn't write me a note.
So right off the bat, this is rough. Even now, they've neglected this child her whole life, but even now, in their final moments, their curtain call on life as we know it, didn't even think of her, had nothing to say to her, which is really sad. And it, like I said, paints quite a picture of her upbringing and her deeply held trauma that I'm sure she will be rid of in no time. She stays in the house after her parents are taken away, and her nanny offers to stay with her, but she just wants to be alone. She makes herself some ramen. It sounds delicious, stresses out over how she's going to handle the press, studio execs, all that jazz. Seems her parents were very, very important, but then her phone buzzes, even though she thought she turned it off. She did. It's her other phone, her secret family only for emergencies phone. Hello? Tiernan. No, Tiernan. This man's voice is steep, but there's a little surprise in it, like he didn't expect me to answer. Or he's nervous. It's Jake Vanderberg. Your uncle, Jake Vanderberg. My father's brother. He finishes for me. Stepbrother, actually, yeah. Oh God, we're here already. Not a moment to waste. She goes on to tell us how her mother grew up in foster care, so they weren't close to any of her family. Same goes for her dad's side, since his parents were no longer with us. No grandparents for Tiernan. And the only sibling he had was this stepbrother who is now calling out of the blue. She assumes it's for the money that will no doubtedly be handed out in the will or something, so she tries to wrap up the call quickly. Tells him she doesn't have funeral info, but she'll put him in touch with someone who does, and he grumpily says that he's not going to the funeral. Oh yeah? He's calling, apparently, because he's Tiernan's only living relative, and since she's still underage, a truth that I adore. It would appear that her parents left her in his care. Oh, that's great. She will be 18 in a few weeks, so he won't force her to do anything she doesn't want to do. Why don't I believe him, though? He also says that since she grew up in that life, she probably won't like it out there with them. Them being him and his two sons, you recall, Noah and Caleb with a K. Not much older than her, actually. Oh, great. Yay, cousins. They live out in the woods in Colorado, and they are apparently set to get snowed in for the winter. Happens every winter. And typically, y'all know, if you've been here, I love an isolated snowy setting. I love it, but here, I'm not so sure. He goes on, no cable, no noise, no Wi-Fi sometimes, just the sounds of the wind and the falls and the thunder.
The thunder rolls and the lightning strikes.
My heart aches a little.
I don't know if it's his words or his voice. Just the sound of the wind and the falls and the thunder sounds amazing, actually. No one can get to you. That's what I'm afraid of. She ruminates a little bit longer, looking over her barren room and weighs her options. He keeps talking. Man, he is a yapper about how he came out there when he was her age, toughened him up, you know, nothing like a hard day's work in the sun, made myself a good little life. And then he asks her if she's had a good life. Ouch. I keep my eyes closed, but I feel like I have a truck sitting on my lungs. I
I've had a great life. I have a closet full of designer clothes and bags everyone expects a famous star's daughter to own. I've been to 24 countries and I can buy anything I want. My home is huge. My fridge is stocked. How many people would happily trade places with me? How lucky am I? Do you want to come here, Tiernan? I'm sure she does. Spoiler alert, she does. Chapter 2, Tiernan. It's as good as any time to say I don't like her name. I don't like it. There's nothing wrong with it or anything. It's just, it's like, you know, if it's your name and you love it, I love it for you. It's difficult in my mouth. I feel the exact same way about the name Rory. She
hops off the plane at LAX with a dream, my cardigan.
Except instead of LAX, it's rural Colorado. And she is nervous in a teeny tiny little baggage claim area. Thankfully, corn-fed Jake shows up and yanks her luggage for her and leads her back to his black truck. They chit-chat a little bit about school, and she's like, my school's actually fine with letting me finish online. Cool, just make sure you know how to send stuff in bulk so they don't get behind. Our internet's weird. And she's like, cool, okay. You're a long way from LA, little girl. No fancy coffee shops here. And she thinks to herself, it's fine that he assumes this about me, but I'm a California girl. And with all the natural disasters and serial unalivers in my state, I'm tough.
California girls were unforgettable.
I wonder if she'll melt his popsicle. They drive through just the cutest little small town with cafe and an ice cream shop and even a candy store, which she is incredibly thrilled about, but she doesn't say anything. Some memory of a candy shop, I don't know, I skimmed. He asks if she has her license and she's like, yeah, and he's like, cool. You can use any of our vehicles, just make sure I know where you're going. And she's like, we? Oh yeah, his kids, where are they? What if they're not happy I'm coming and they're mad that a girl's showing up changing stuff and making it where they have to hide their dirty jokes? Ugh, if only. I'm worried they won't hide anything, but let's press on. What do you do? My sons and I customize dirt bikes. ATVs, dune buggies. We take orders, build them from our garage at home, then ship off the finished product. I can't help but take another look over at him. He fills up the driver's seat, the sun-kissed muscles in his forearm tight as he holds the wheel. For some reason, when I read this, I pictured Jabba the Hutt, but clearly I'm the only one because she is just, I don't know. Why are we looking at his sun-kissed muscles? Tiernan, this is your uncle. Please tell me what they're about. This is your father's brother, step-brother, sure. But the word brother's right there. Pay less attention to him and more on your breathing girly, please, my God. Because she's kind of starting to panic, right? She's panicking and realizing that they all work from home, so she'll likely be around them all the time. And it's not like she doesn't like people. She just takes time to warm up and she's used to being alone and she's shy. But in the midst of all of this, she's worried that they'll judge her and hate her the way people in school did. And then Unc pulls a Father Lewis, as Rachel and I say, it's a U-turn, which is a Papa Louie, which is a Father Lewis. My body lurches forward as he stops short, and before I have a chance to consider what's going on, he kills the engine and hops out of the truck. Huh? Come on. He tells me, casting me a look before he slams the door closed. I look out the front windshield and see Rebels Pebbles etched in gold on the black Victorian-style sign. He brought us back to the candy shop? Oh, great. She's not the only one who's paying super close attention to her traveling companion and her relative. That's good. Good, great. How sweet.
Take you to the candy shop.
Pun intended, but I'm not proud of it. They wander into the store, fill up a bag. And she's reluctant at first, quote, not liking to give people what they want. But he threatens to buy her a bag full of only black licorice if she doesn't, so she starts to scoop it. Swedish fish. And wouldn't you know it, they're both their favorites. How sweet. Pun intended, and I'm still not proud of it. The bag is $7.95 no matter what, so fill it up. Jake tells me and moves around me down the line of candy containers. $7.95. Almost as expensive as the bottles of Swiss water my mother bathed in. How did he end up so different from them? I'm gonna need you, hold on. Because, see, this is why this book took me ages to read. Because all the nonsensical spice aside, table it. Bathed in bottled water? Y'all are getting silly now. How would this even work? I'm not saying it's not something rich people do. I wouldn't know. I'm not rich. I don't know what they're up to. Do you have like a big pot on the stove where you heat the water and then pour it into the bath? Like, it seems really stupid, but we're just getting started. They leave the candy shop and the town in their dust as they drive further and further away from any signs of civilization. She's pleased to see the cabin he mentioned is actually a 3-floor spacious structure and not a doomsday prepper style bunker underground. So that's nice. 2 dogs greet them when they hop out of the truck, and when they enter the house, Jake calls out to see if anyone is home, and we get to meet Noah. His dark blonde hair is slicked back under a backwards baseball cap, and he doesn't look much older than me, maybe 20 or 21. His body, though, His strong arms are tan dark under his green t-shirt, and he's broad. His crystal clear blue eyes widen and his mouth hooks in a half smile. This is Noah, my youngest. Ugh, I'm uncomfortable. I'm just uncomfortable. I know what it is, okay? I know. I read the synopsis, I read the reviews, I know what it is, but it's still just... Noah's weird, but he leaves pretty quickly to go help his brother track down some horse that got out of the stables or something. So Jake gives her a tour. Kitchen, bathroom, living room, laundry's out in the garage. So is a dead deer that they're gonna slaughter for meat. Doing your laundry in the same room where you string up carcasses of animals you plan to slaughter and eat. That's a choice. That's a choice. I can only imagine that these people smell coppery. No cable, but plenty of movies, and streaming is an option too. When the Wi-Fi isn't acting up. Speaking of the Wi-Fi, you want it? It's under Cobra Kai, but as for the password, a man confronts you. He is the enemy. An enemy deserves... I stop myself before I can shake my head and type in, no mercy, one word. It connects within seconds. Jake comes from his side, glances down. When he sees I got the password correct, he nods impressed. You can stay. For those of you who didn't know, this is a line from the 1984 classic film, The Karate Kid. It's fun to learn things when you read. He asks if she's hungry, and even though she is, she says she's just tired. She just really wants some alone time. And so he escorts her up and takes her bags. He points out his room, bathroom, Noah's room, and her room. She's like, I didn't take your other son's bedroom, did I? Caleb's room's on the 3rd floor. It's the only room up there, so no need for a tour. He's got a great view, though. Lots of air and space. He likes space. He sighs, his words weighted with frustration as he opens my bedroom door, both dogs rushing inside ahead of us. Ugh. Keep that in mind when you meet him and don't take anything personally. No, that's actually perfect because she likes space too, so stay the away from her. Her room is uncluttered, cozy, and has its own fireplace. Before he leaves, she stops him with a question. You hated my father. Is that it, you? He straightens and stares at me. Won't it be uncomfortable for you to have me here, Uncle Jake? I don't see your father when I look at you, Tiernan. Not sure what that means or if it should make me feel better. You look like your mother. He said it at the airport that I look like my mother. Does he see her when he looks at me then? At this point, I thought that what was going to happen is that the brothers weren't on speaking terms because he, Jake, also loved Amelia. Is that her name? And, there was a whole fight over her and all that stuff, and it didn't go well. But that is actually not what happens. It's even dumber than that. He doesn't really answer her question, just balls up his fist, tells her, you don't have to call me uncle, and leaves her there. In the suffocating reality that she doesn't actually know these people at all. I will exclusively be calling him Uncle Jake, just FYI. I want to remember what we're dealing with here. Chapter 3, Tiernan again. Ugh, I dread the moment that we switch. She wakes up stiff and it takes her brain a second to remember where she is. That she's left everything she's ever known and moved in with strangers that she's slightly related to. And she remembers why. Her parents are gone. And she's a little annoyed that she hasn't cried yet. I'm not a sociopath. I cried during Battle of Winterfell and Game of Thrones. But I don't cry not once when both my parents die. Grief is weird, homie. Don't beat yourself up. She realizes that she never told Marae that she made it safely, so she calls her and tells her that everything's fine. And she thinks she's gonna stay. She isn't sure if she'll come to the funeral, blah, blah, blah. And Marae is like, that's fine, babes. Do whatever you feel like you need to do. After she gets off the phone, she grabs her toiletries and goes to the bathroom to freshen up and get ready for another awkward day with the fam. She practically runs into a strange naked lady who clearly spent the night with Uncle Jake. It was awkward. I don't know. She goes downstairs for more awkward. He says she has pretty hands. And that her dad did too. And she's like, well, he's dead now, so you win, I guess. Naked lady reappears, now clothed, but she's here to make out with him before leaving, and she looks at him a little bit more. Her dad didn't look anything like this man. How old is he anyway? The girl that was naked earlier is still kissing on him, and she's like, she's too young for him. I really hate to tell you this. He tells Tiernan to go get some shoes on and come help him. Help him with what? I don't know. She's continuing in her thoughts of observing him. It's like, my father was 49, Jake's younger, with sons that are 20, so he must be in his 40s. And I'm just so thrilled that we know-ish what we're dealing with here. They head out toward the horses, and he asks, and she confirms that she does in fact know how to ride them, but she knows how to ride them. Excuse me, sorry. In spite of this, they take one horse. Oh no, not the one horse trope. And he rides behind her and asks if she's uncomfortable. I am. Okay. She isn't, but doesn't say anything. Just thinks to herself, I don't know, but I'm aware that maybe I should be. This is weird. We shouldn't be sitting like this. No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. He rides her up to another section of their homestead where the barn and water tower and greenhouse are. Honestly, this sounds ideal. Except for the
grooming familial ties that we have coming for us. This is the peak, or what this part of town is called, or this part of their mount. I don't know. She looks out over the beauty and he asks, like it? I nod. Do you like it?
I think that.
He asks again in a stern voice, and I know he wants me to just use my words. I just keep staring ahead, only able to whisper, I love it. I bet she does. I'm uncomfortable already, and we have so much longer. There's so much more. Like, I get the whole use your words thing can be hot in the right context, but this context right here is a sharp left. It's a teenage girl who just lost her parents. She's in a strange place, strange people she's related to, and then you're forcing her to speak. So I'm less goopy, more poopy. He then tells her that she can come out here anytime, but just make sure you bring a weapon. And she nods, which isn't acceptable apparently, because we're all about using our words. So he grabs her. This is very important. Do you understand? This isn't LA. It's not even Denver. We have black bears, mountain lions, coyotes, and occasional rattlesnakes. You need to have your eyes open. You're on their turf now. I pull away from his grasp and face forward again, but then I see him bring something up from behind me, and I tear my gaze away from the peak again to see that he holds a gun or a rifle. A gun is a rifle. A rifle is always a gun. A gun isn't always a rifle, right? Right? The little math word problem for you. A rifle is always a gun, but a gun isn't always a rifle. We're having so much fun. Yay, it's time to do some shooting. This kind. Not this kind. Not yet, anyway. She told him that she can't shoot, but when he gives her a target, starts to explain the gun to her, she just fires off and nails it. Bullseye. And he's like, the fuck? And she's like, I meant I don't shoot animals. He hops down, satisfied that she'll be able to get home by herself without any danger while he checks some traps and stuff, so he just leaves her alone. He also adds that when she gets back to the house, she should start on breakfast, and she is not pleased, saying, I'll cook, but I don't plan on being stuck in the kitchen. So then Jake gets all alpha macho and starts just listing off other things that he's already really good at and knows that she can't do. Stuff like planting crops or cutting down trees or skinning a deer or building a motorcycle from scratch. Fine. How do you like your eggs, bitch? God damn. Then she's like, I can leave whenever I want. Oh yeah? Well, maybe I keep you here until you learn to emote or speak more than 2 words at a time. I'll be 18 in 10 weeks. We'll be snowed in 8. Burn a bacon, Tiernan. We like it like that. Chapter 4, turning again. She gets back to the house and takes a shortcut through the somewhere, I don't know. She ends up pissed off in a room that has a punching bag. I think it's the garage. Honestly, I think punching bag and the dead deer and the laundry are all in the garage. And then she just starts wailing on it. She's just going over the crap he says and how he threatened to keep her here and how he expects her to cook, etc. When suddenly Noah shows up and he's holding the bag for her. She stops breathing heavy and he's like, don't stop. He pisses everybody off. That's why we have this thing. She doesn't move. So he says, oh, so you're making breakfast then? And she just bends it like Beckham and knocks into him. She's angry and it feels good. Noah's like, come on, help me make breakfast. I should give them all different voices, but I will not. So after a bit of time has passed, Noah sets down 3 plates for breakfast and she goes upstairs because she isn't hungry. She is actually hungry, but she's annoyed and wants to be alone, so she goes upstairs and starts checking her phone. Never read the comments, but she does. And some are sympathetic and understanding, but some are hateful trolls, and after typing and deleting a handful of drafts, she just uninstalls everything and turns the phone back off. She starts to unpack her stuff, even though she isn't even sure if she's staying yet, and brushes her teeth and goes outside to help Jake do something. Jake's working on something to do with the house, hammers, nails, all that stuff, but shirts are not on the menu, so whoosh, gone. And she starts working with him in silence, but ouch, she gets a splinter. And he grabs her hand and starts working the splinter out and asks her who taught her to shoot, because he couldn't imagine his brother Hans outdoors, unless it was on a yacht. Zing! 2 things in one day. Jake is on fire. Anyway, as he's trying to dislodge the splinter, a group of local motocross guys show up and Noah goes out to say hi. Jake pulls her further into the garage to continue working on the splinter, and he says sorry for talking about her dad because he's probably screwed his kids up too. I can almost guarantee you that you have. And that he's sorry if she's upset about their deaths, but he's not, and she's like, I'm not either. Brutal. He does something, the splinter, that causes her to recoil, but then warmth spreads up my neck as his gaze hovers down on mine, hard and angry, but kind of puzzled too. Like he's trying to figure me out. A breeze blows through the open doors of the shop, the chatter and laughter outside miles away as a wisp of my hair loose from the ponytail blows across my lips.
His eyes drop to my mouth and I stop breathing. Everything gets warm. A trickle of sweat glides down his neck and the hair on my arms stand on end. I'm aware of his naked chest. We're too close.
And then he pops her hand into his mouth and tries to suck the splinter out, Edward Cullen style. And now listen to me right now. I grew up out in the country, okay? You can probably tell from my voice when I get excited, the twang comes out. So I know that if you were bitten by a venomous snake, you can suck the venom out, but this is not venom. Does this work with splinters? I know that if you like soak it in water, it might, push it. I don't know. I've never had one so embedded that it needed an oral hoovering, so you'll have to forgive me. Let me know if this actually works though, because I am flying blind here. He leaves her with a comment that none of the local boys are right for her, but we'll let her know when one is. Hi, thanks. I didn't ask. I didn't ask you. Don't care. What a presumptuous dickwad. She thinks what I said, basically, and he's like, guys only want 2 things, and one of them is beer. And she's like, don't you get lonely up here when the beer runs out? With him he's still blowing her hand. Ugh, this is so weird. Do you like being here? Is he still sucking on her hand? Like he's just, do you like being here?
I don't know.
Where would you rather be?
I don't want to be anywhere.
That's dark. I wouldn't want to be there or anywhere if my dead dad's estranged bumpkin stepbrother and my unknown until recently uncle put his mouth on my hand and sucked a splinter out while telling me not to date anyone. Rip to me. As she goes back inside, he asks her to make some sandwiches for him to stick in the fridge, and he says, we're not picky. No, they definitely aren't. So Girly Pop heads inside to make some Sammies for everyone and notices that the fridge has a leak, so she YouTubes how to fix it and does so. Tiernan literally said, how hard could it be, boys, do it. While fixing it, she's also wondering if she has any money, like did they leave her any? Is there a trust? Things like that. And then Noah wanders in to ask if she fixed it, and then, so when do you turn 18?
November 1st.
Oh, good. A Scorpio. No hate to the Scorpios out there. I'm sure you're different. He also asks if she plans to leave when she turns 18, to which she's like, here's as good as any place because you're still you no matter where you go. And he says, yeah, well, I'd rather be sad on a beach. Me too. And to this, she laughs. They must not have stocked jokes in the mansion. You have a pretty smile, cuz. If you stay, I'll make you smile some more. Yikes. 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 Anyway, Jake wanders in and finds his fridge not only fixed, but all rearranged, and he gets all, don't be doing none of that sissy stuff around here like cleanliness. Brr. She heads off to bed, and the thunderstorm makes her scream and thrash around. I'm picturing... She wakes up in a cold sweat, noticing that she has clawed at herself in her sleep, which she hasn't done since she was a kid. Is her parents' death triggering her, or something else? Chapter 5. Jake. Oh good, the time has come. She shouldn't be here. This is a mistake. I can't do Tiernan any good. I can barely keep my own kids under control. Noah's 10 seconds from packing a bag and leaving any day. And Caleb, Jesus, Caleb. I've never been able to imagine that kid's future because men like him don't live long. He makes too many enemies. So you admit it. So you agree. You don't think you should have any children. Any of these children. Great. Great. I was kind of getting that, but it's nice to see some self-awareness. Self-awareness only goes so far because you have to then act on the things you uncover when you introspect. But we're not doing that here. Tosses the covers off. He got no sleep, even with all the space, since the 23-year-old redhead he bangs wasn't there last night. Ooh, 23. That's so good. It's her son. His son's age. I love that. I love it when my own family members did it, and I love it even more now. She isn't even a good lay anyway. Anyway, he ruminates and pouts over the fact that he didn't even speak to these people for decades, but he's in the will. Was there no one else who could take her? I shouldn't have taken her. She has problems.
Don't look, that kid's got problems.
So what is it with her? Drugs, alcohol, cutting, sex? I stop. An image of Tiernan in the backseat of some car, sweat on her face, hair sticking to her cheek. Hold on now, buddy. Why are we talking about this? Why are we thinking about this? Eyes closed, breathing hard, pops into my head. I let out a breath and yank my t-shirt off the chair, tucking it into my back pocket for later. She better not. I'm not supplying this town with new pussy. I cock my neck to side, hearing a crack. Not the backwoods hillbilly bumpkin with a shotgun who barely knows the teenage girl but gets enraged at the thought of her getting railed by a stranger. Not that. Ugh. You're not more concerned if she has a drug addiction or self-harms. You're not worried about that. No, it's her fresh coochie buffet that has him so twisted up. Snap your neck entirely. He talks about how his brother and his wife should have never had kids. And then he says, but shit sticks together, I guess. What? I have no idea what that means or if that's even true, but I refuse to Google it. I will not be Googling it or diagramming the flotation patterns of fecal matter. Even I have my limits, but just know I thought about it. I considered it for you. He goes to wake her up so he can apologize for being a dick. He didn't get to apologize to her yesterday because she went to her room and stayed there all night long. And as he knocks, a smell like skin wet from the rain. Ooh, we're getting waxing poetic. Deja vu suddenly washes over me and I inhale deeper. Skin with the faintest hint of fragrance, like that soft hidden place between a woman's ear, and that smells like her, but also a little bit of her perfume and shampoo and sweat. Why are you sniffing women's ears? And suddenly I can taste it. It used to be my favorite place to kiss her. God, I'd forgotten. I closed the book at this point because I was so convinced that maybe he was in love with Tiernan's mom and him and his brother had a little like, no, you can't have her. I want her. No, kind of back and forth tug of war with her. But that's not what happened. So it's just really, whatever. He opens the door to find her room spick and span, but no Tiernan. And so he heads back downstairs, banging on Noah's door as he passes by. He hits the ground level and smells coffee and finds Tiernan messing about in the kitchen. He pours a cup and thanks her for fixing the fridge. About time. He doesn't get any reply from her except for asking if there's anything she can do today to help him. And he's like, okay, she's moving on from it, so I guess I will too. And he's like, yeah, I gotta milk some cows and the horses need to be fed and the stalls cleaned and breakfast will be good. And she's like, cool. He thinks to himself that he wishes that she would smile. And then he takes a few paragraphs to vividly describe things to us, like, oh, I don't know, the curve of her waist. And he compared her frame to her mother's frame, which looked frigid like a statue, but Tiernan's frame makes you wonder how she'd bend in someone's arms. Nope, sorry, nope. Can you imagine? Can you imagine this being you? You're 17 years old, both your parents just died. You've never met these people, and you are just trying to get by, and your 40-something-year-old uncle is thinking about how your frame would feel in his arms. Or someone's arms. My bad. I don't want to project. Anyway, he's like, I don't care if she leaves, but I can make her stay if I wanna. If for no other reason than to burn off some of my exceeding supply of frustration with her father, to make her work off his debt to me, to fuck up her life just a little bit, to make her... She wets her pink lips and my breath catches for a moment. If I were a worse man. But you are, Jacothy. You are a worse man. What a sick thing to want to do to a kid, too. All of the incest aside, you want to hurt her because you didn't like her father, her dead dad. Am I supposed to be damp? I just gotta ask. This man is the one that's supposed to keep my engine running? Yeah, it's not working. It's just, you know what? It's just not starting. He kind of self-corrects a little bit though, and maybe I am being too harsh too fast. Let me calm down. I need to get out of here. I'm not sure where the hell my mind is going, but it's not right. Oh, see? There he is. A somewhat reasonable man appears. Gold star for you. Not to mention she's quiet, boring, and a little pathetic. I can't torture someone who won't fight back. Give me my star back. Noah stomps down the stairs and Jake tells him that they've got a lot of work to do, so put your boots on. Asks him to show Tiernan how to do some of the stuff. Noah also tells her to take off the blousey shirt that she's wearing so he can give her one of his flannels instead and some old work boots. Thankfully, she has an undershirt on, so she just strips the top shirt off and Jake has to fight tooth and nail not to just gawk at her. Time skip, he's out working and his phone rings. It is Mirai, the nanny. He's rude and she's like, well, I wanted to talk to you and ask how Tiernan is. And he's like, she's fine. And Mirai is like, I want her to come home. They get to like a pissing contest of sorts over who's best suited to care for Tiernan and who would benefit from her money too. And they throw jabs back and forth. And Mirai is like, I know her and you don't. Did you know she used to wake up every night with no alarm at 1 a.m.? Bitch, why would he know that? Why would he know that? He's silent, half unsure and half mad that she knows something about this child that she spent over a decade with, a child he has, again, never seen or spoken to until last week. Logic and reason and rational thinking are not present. Anyway, after she mic drops that useless bit of information, she hangs up and he wanders over to where T and Noah are shoveling horse shit. He ties a hanky around her face that will help with the smell. Time skip, they are finished, so she asks for more work and he gives her more chores to do. And Noah is like, we can train her so it'll be like I never left. And Jake is like, no. Not happening. No 20-year-old son of mine is doing anything away from home. Healthy, yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine why he would want to leave. Chapter 6 is Tiernan again. She asks if she could borrow the truck to go food shopping in town. Thank God we're not in Jake's head anymore, am I right? I can just hear the thoughts now of beheading any of the townsfolk who happen to glance in her direction while she's, I don't know, browsing a chip aisle or something. It's not much better in here, in here though, because she is distracted by him being shirtless again.
Doesn't he own a shirt?
He's like, sure, tosses some cash down. She's like, I have money. He's like, we don't need Dejas money. She's like, you don't want Dejas money in your house, but you want a Dejas in your house? And he's like, you're ours. We'll take care of you. Jesus Christ, dude. Snap the neck. Snap the neck. Noah's like, I'll go with her. I need you to. So they start getting ready. Jake mentions that he will be burning trash later, and she is up in arms about how bad it is for the environment.
I'm with you, T. But what if we throw them all in the fire?
So Jake, of course, gives her shit about it. They banter back and forth. I'm bored. She calls him a prick, and he's like, oh, I'm nothing. You haven't met Caleb yet. And then tells her to wear a real shirt before she goes into town, because like he loves to be controlling and sexist and just spew bullshit everywhere. She showers and dresses and tells us that even though they're pretty stocked on food, she needs other stuff. Uh-oh, it better not be no lady stuff. We don't got room for no lady stuff around here. Spoiler alert, it's birth control. She's been on it for a long time and she doesn't want to break her routine, whatever. Anyway, she goes outside to see Noah on a dirt bike and he's like, hop on. He has a helmet for her and everything. Safety first. He puts the helmet on her and it's kind of hot. No, it isn't. And they're off like a shot. And she is plastered to him because they're going at breakneck speeds. And once they get to town, she thinks about how Noah said that he'd leave if he was her. But why doesn't he? He's 20. God only knows, Tiernan. And hopefully it will stay that way because I do not care. She also lets her mind wander to the boys' mom. Like, who is she? They get to the store, they go their separate ways, and they'll meet back at the register when they're done. Break! She heads to the pharmacy to have her prescription for her birth control transferred over here. So while she's grabbing the rest of her stuff, a Hottie McHotterson girl walks up and asks her where she got the hat. Noah gave it to her. It's one of theirs, I think, with their logo on it or whatever. And the girl seems to think she's some motocross guy's girlfriend or something. So she's being really rude. Thankfully, Noah and his 8 boxes of condoms show up and say, she's with us. And that makes the girl back off. Her name is Cece. She gets real upset when someone prettier moves into town. So this should be fun to watch play out. And Tiernan's like, I don't like drama. Sure you don't. Sure you don't. They go outside and start to load onto the bike when Noah starts a staring contest with some dude at the cafe. Tiernan says that he looks like his name is Blaine and his favorite types of girls are named Cassidy. Bitch, I know you're not talking about people's names. You aren't acting this way. I just know it. It cannot be true. Anyway, his name is Terrence, some hotshot up-and-comer motocross star who's actually staring at her, not Noah. So Noah gets super close to her to rub it in. She's your cousin. Like, I need you to chill. Anyway, he's rubbing it in that he can touch her because she's theirs. How primal. Big men make fire too. She thinks to herself on the ride back that it would have been nice if her dad had been protective like this. Well, you know, I think this would have been a different but familiar book if he had. And she isn't sure if this is a good or a bad thing, the protectiveness, but she doesn't hate it. I do. On the ride back, they stop and overlook the city below, and he tries to get her to open up, crack her open like an oyster, and he's making her cry, but he can't see that under the helmet, thank God. Time skip, she wakes up from a nightmare again. Clearly Noah hit a nerve. She goes downstairs to grab some laundry in the dryer, oh dear God. And she thinks about leaving, but just then a shirtless man covered in blood carrying a dead animal kicks the door down. Ugh. She is freaked out, and then she realizes that this must be Caleb. Oh, joy. She tries to say something to him as he unloads the deer and starts, I don't know what you do to a deer. And then he rinses himself off in the sink or whatever. And he just stares at her and cocks his head to the side like he's freaking Leatherface or something. He then continues to be the weirdest bitch on the mountain and stalks towards her, slams her into a wall, grabs her hair in his hands and sniffs her like he's a freaking wild animal. And to make matters worse, he just starts essaying her. Yeah, he's writing a big old essay, or he's trying to. Kissing and licking and biting and scratching and throwing her onto the hood of the car that's apparently in here and pulling her pants off. Like, what the frick? What is actually going on? Noah shows up and gets him off of her and is like, dude, chill. She's not a townie. She's our cousin. You can't fuck her. And as if that's the only reason you can't just be raping a girl in your own garage. Chill, dude. No In this one, she's family. And in the club, we're all fam. Anyway, she's not happy, wouldn't you know it? And Noah is like, this is just how he is after he's been in the woods. Then don't let him go in the woods. And she's like, why are you speaking for him? And he's like, he can't speak. He hasn't since he was like 4. Is this a new thing in dark romance? Someone has to be nonverbal. And the thing about this is that it's never portrayed well. Like nonverbal or people who have selective mutism or whatever the case may be, that's completely fine. But to tropify it and then also make it to where true love and the different than other girls girl at the main crux of the story heals them from being nonverbal, or is the reason they choose to start speaking again? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I don't like it. Anyway, she's like, oh, well, is he deaf too? Because I asked him to stop like 7 times. And he's like, no, he can hear just fine. He's just not used to women like you. What the fuck does that mean? Amused, Noah's like, he won't do it again. Then they leave her standing there in the garage and she's realizing that she wasn't 100% not wanting him to do what he was doing. Ugh, she's a virgin. Also, maybe I forgot to mention it, or maybe I just figured that you all knew because all of these books are the same. Chapter 7, Tiernan. It's the next morning and sounds of a young lady moaning from Noah's room wake her up. She is still reeling for what happened the night before. Understandable. And she starts to have a little moment with herself, fueled on by the memory. But no, because he's clearly done this before to other girls. It wasn't special. He was just horned up, and I could have been anyone. That's why we're not doing it. That's why we're not hitting the DJ booth. Great, whatever keeps you out of there. And like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. I'm sorry that you're feeling jealous, but like, how many women has this man ard? He just sees a woman and pounces. Like, again, let's check our moisture levels real quick. Dry as a bone over here. We may have another dust bowl on our hands. Also, someone should check the registry for Caleb. Hot. She changes and heads to the bathroom to brush her teeth, and Jake is just standing there in the bathroom in a towel, and the girl from a few nights ago or days ago, whatever, kisses him goodbye before squeezing past her. She's like, I'll wait. And he's like, why bother? Come on in. So she does. I had to stop to plug in my computer, but look at Beans. He must really like this book, huh? He tells her, why bother? Come on in. And so she does. And she asks why he's showering in the morning. And he's like, because I got dirty last night. I'm so sorry. Boundaries would be great. Yeah. He starts to shave and he tells her, you did a good job on the stalls yesterday. Do you have a boyfriend? Dude, a boyfriend? Any man ever? God, I'm tired. She says nothing but tells us that he and Caleb resemble each other when it comes to their physique. That is so cute though, because he was just saying that about you and your mother. This is a Freudian nightmare. Or a blessing. I don't know. Freud was weird. He guesses that she's still innocent and that she should stay because they need a woman around the house. If you treated some with decency and respect, you might have some. Am I being dumb here? And then she's like, are you gonna try to make a man out of me? Cue Mulan. I'll make a man out of you. And starts to pretend to shave her face too with the end of her toothbrush. And I'm gonna tell you, I hate this, especially where we're headed and the kinks that come into play here. Anyway, he's like, nah, you're a girl. And she's like, but I won't always be one. God help me. This is so disgusting. You know, every time I read an incest book, which is a sentence in itself, there's this sliver of panic in my bones, right? That maybe one day I'll actually enjoy this drivel. And then I'll have to contact an even more qualified therapist to help me deal with that. But clearly, I have nothing to fear. All this does is make me feel nauseous. Good for you if you like it. None of my business. Time skip. She's making pancakes, making bacon pancakes.
Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake.
Caleb walks in and continues to be weird despite her trying to talk to him. The other two come in as she's finishing up. She's still a little mad and a little hot about what happened last night with Caleb. So she gives everyone except Caleb a plate. And Jake is like, I can see you two met. But she's just so over it, she just leaves. But before she leaves, there is a moment. There's always a moment to take all of them in their shirtless glory.
Doesn't he own a shirt?
No shirt, tan skin. She has got to get out of here. Yeah, you do. And take me with you. Time skip, she's bringing bales of hay from town that Jake sent her to go get. She enjoyed the alone time, to be honest. I can't blame her for that. I would have kept driving, though. You'll never see me again. She's unloading the bales. She sees the motocross friends and their girls. She takes some of the bales into the stable and finds a girl licking the lollipop of a one Caleb. And instead of leaving, she just watches through a crack. Caleb meets her eyes, but she keeps watching, and he keeps watching her, and she, Tiernan, moans, "You would literally never see me again." Mortifying. And she is, so she leaves, rationalizes that she was just in shock. That's why she lingered. That's why she maintained eye contact. That's why she practically came her britchers while watching. Noah calls to her to see if she wants to come riding with him. She starts to get her helmet, but Caleb appears and takes the helmet from her, and he pushes her back towards the house like the fucking idiot that he is. And Jake starts to do something, but he doesn't. Guardian of the Year. Tiernan says it's fine, she didn't want to go anyway, and goes back to the house, fighting tears the whole way. She stands in the living room feeling totally alone, and she's partially grateful, but partially she's just lonely. She grabs a gun, or a rifle, lol, and heads out the door. She makes her way through the woods and eventually finds her way back to a lake that Jake showed her the other day. She sets her stuff down, takes off most of her clothes, turns some music on her phone, wades into the water, enjoying a solo swim, floating, diving down, feeling the warm sun on her cool skin. So naturally, she gets interrupted by none other than the hotshot wannabe motocross star Credence. He says, "Hey," while undressing himself and coming into the water. Goddamn, all these men are trash. But hey, who wants to bet that he is the only one demonized for lusting after her and not respecting her boundaries? I mean, sure, her cousin essayed her and almost art her last night, even though she screamed and fought him off, but she's theirs, and they're family, and the only person who gets to treat her like shit is us. I love that. I love it. One of my favorite tropes.
Just one more for exotic bird bingo.
Anyway, he dives in and she tries to leave and go around him, and he's like, "Relax, not everything with a penis is a threat." Really? She again tries to go around him, and he's like, "If you go now, I may not get a chance to get you alone again. They're very protective of their property." She's like, "I'm not their property." And he's like, "Everything up here is their property." He drops a corny line. She drops one back. They giggle and laugh together. Isn't that sweet? It's arguably the most normal interaction she's had with a man so far. So what am I to do? Then he starts shit-talking his ex-girlfriend. Spoke too soon. I should have known misogyny would creep up sooner or later. And she's still low-key horny for him. He asks, "Do you have a boyfriend?" And she's like, "Do you care?" "I don't." He's like, "You need one." He tells her that her fam over there goes into town every Friday night to find the prettiest thing they can find and bring home with them. Except now the prettiest thing's gonna be alone up here every Friday night. Wink. "What if I were to come here Friday night when you're alone?" he says low. "Would you let me in the house?" What are you, a vampire? Vampire rules, don't let him in. Even though, so far, he's the most normal out of the whole brood. He's leaning in to try and kiss her when, all of a sudden, Noah and Caleb show up, yelling at her to get out of the water. Caleb has a shotgun. This is all so hot. I mean, what am I supposed to do? "You're not gonna be able to keep her to yourself," he tells Caleb and Noah. "She's the prettiest thing we've seen in a while, and I'm just trying to get in there before all the other dogs start barking at your front door for a piece of that sweet little snatch." Snatch. I cringe, and Caleb Cops is gonna, me too, cringe city. Noah's like, "Get on the bike right now, Tiernan, and get out of here." And so she does. "Hi, darling. Do you like this book? What do you rate it?" "Okay, great, me too." Chapter 8 is Tiernan again. Noah takes her back to the house where Jake is big mad, and they're both all like, "What happened up there? You look pretty cozy with Credence." Is that his name? God, I don't remember. They both physically grab her, which is so sexy, and Jake's like, "I told you to stay away from the locals. You were unprotected." She just can't help herself. She's like, "I was kind of liking him. We were kind of vibing." Noah starts to lunge at her, which, calm down, bro. Jake stops him. I turn and head up the stairs, hearing Noah's angry bark behind me. "You're a Vanderberg here. If you give that asshole a piece of your ass, I swear to God, I'll make sure you don't sit for a week." Who says this? Noah? He's 20.
Pipe down, Chachi.
Anyway, time skip. She has showered, and and gone back to the barn to brush the horse's earbuds in. Why would you shower and then go? Never mind, who cares? She likes the animals though, and the quiet alone time. We know she likes alone time. And then she also thinks about Terrence and how she kind of liked him. They were kind of vibing. But she's not stupid. He would have just banged her and then never talked to her again. But that might have been okay, to bang it out and then not have to worry about connecting, because that's something that she's not very good at. Maybe I am awkward in life, but could possibly be soft and gooey with a lover in my bed. No. Man, this child is damaged. It's a good thing she's got a good solid support group to get her through this. And by solid, I mean, you know. She goes back inside and finds a yet again bloody Caleb, but it's his own this time. Whew, thank goodness, I think. They're bandaging him up and whatever, and I guess there was like a scuffle between the boys. The boys were fighting up in the peak. They tell her to start dinner and she's like, I'm not hungry. And they're like, well, we are. And she's like, tough shit. And then pivots to Caleb that she doesn't feel bad for him, not but at all. He enjoyed fighting. It's not like you were there to defend my honor, so spare me. And she says they should just send her home since she can't follow orders. And Jake's like, I said you would benefit from time here and I was right. You have no idea how to be part of a team, of family. Believe me, I don't want to be a part of this particular team or this specific family. Also, sir, can I call you sir? And I say that with sarcasm. What is with the family shit? One of your kids is borderline feral and the other one's just dopey and happy to be there, except he isn't. He's like chomping at the bit to leave at any moment because he hates it here. And they're both old enough to leave, but you apparently won't let them. And y'all have been fucking weird to this girl ever since she got here. Controlling, intimidating. Hell, one of you tried to R her last night. If this is family, count me out.
If this is love, I don't want it.
And to just continue the great lesson of what it means to be a team, a family, he starts berating her. And honestly, this is a very familiar family dynamic. This resonates with me. Belittling her, calling her names, making her feel like shit while advancing on her more intimidation and abuse. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Family. He calls her a spoiled brat. She says, no, I'm not. You're not what? Used to a spending limit in a small closet? What? And then she finally breaks. People. She's not used to people because she's been alone and neglected her whole life. And no one ever spoke to her. She runs upstairs and locks herself in her room to cry. We're having fun. Right? This is a dark romance. We're having fun. Time skip, she shares a memory with us, or a dream, I'm not really sure. Her mother had just received news that she was nominated for an Oscar. What a great privilege. What a great honor. Everyone is celebrating, and she wants to hug her mom and congratulate her, but she is talked over and ignored as usual. Time skip again, she wakes up crying and notices the door that she locked is cracked open, and the bag of candy that she threw away is not in the trash can and has been magically returned to her nightstand with a note that reads, your parents never gave you anything sweet. That's why you're not. Beautiful. Wow, you should frame it. She notes that it's phrased and written very childishly, so it must be Caleb. He is, after all, described as mute, so that must mean he's a little dumb too, right? We love a stereotype. Anyway, she throws the candy away again, but keeps the bag with the little note on it. Maybe she is gonna frame it. She heads downstairs to get a glass of water. She involuntarily starts making coffee, like she's already gotten into a habit of this, and then Jake shows up and takes over making the coffee for her. He isn't tense or mad anymore, shoo, but I fear that that might mean worse things are coming. She tells him, I'm going home, and he's like, you are home. No, she's not. No. You are home. And tucks her hair behind her ears. Yuck, 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 yuck. No. And he hugs her too. Ugh. He kisses the top of her head. I wish he wouldn't. And tells her that she isn't alone, which is good news for her because she was thinking how nice that hug felt and that she doesn't want to be alone anymore. God, this poor kid. He tells her to get dressed because she's with him today, and then he leaves. But she wishes he would stay and hug her some more. Blah! She goes upstairs to get dressed and knocks on Noah's door, telling us that the last time she spoke to him, he was threatening to spank her. Also, it was Noah that threatened that. How freaking corny. She borrows a long sleeve shirt from him, has a weird exchange of glances with Caleb in the hallway, and then heads outside to meet Uncle Jake. They share some coffee, and then they head off to fix a fence or something. This is Red Dead Redemption, just with incest. Actually, I think there might be, I don't want to talk about it. She asks him why Caleb doesn't talk, and he says that he shouldn't say if Caleb doesn't. She asks if it's something to do with his mother, and he's like, what do you know about it? Then he tells her that she's in prison. I thought you didn't want to speak. Okay, whatever, that's fine. It doesn't matter. That must have been hard for All of them. She asked if he loved her, and he corrects her by saying he dove into her because he couldn't stop loving someone else. I swear to God. He hands her his wallet where a picture sits, and it is apparently someone he was in love with, some poor immigrant girl named Flora, but she wasn't rich, and that just wouldn't fly in his family. So Amelia and Hans helped get rid of her by getting her drunk and making her think she'd slept with Hans. Yes, I will say it like that every single time it comes up. She was so upset that she left, and he tried to find her, but she told him to leave her alone. Don't call. Don't call me no more and don't text me no more. And then she took her own life. Tragic. But Jake just moved out here and now has everything you see here.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom.
And Jake isn't about to let this sad ass of a story ruin all the family fun they're about to have. We need to have some fun. Let's all go up to the lake tomorrow. The lake? Not the pond? Get some music and beer in us. She's 17, Jake. Jacob. She's 17. Some cliff diving. What is it with Jacobs and
cliff diving? Scary as hell. A total rush.
They keep doing the chores, and then back at the barn, a shirtless Caleb is chopping wood. Not his own. One of his cuts opens up, and Jake tells her to go get the first aid kit because Caleb needs help. Yeah, professional help. I grumble. It's on the tip of my tongue to tell him about the other night in the shop and about the barn yesterday, but I can't put all the blame on Caleb. It's best not to bring it up. Repeat, you can put, no, you shouldn't have been watching him get his shit rocked, but the attempted R, yeah, I'd say that was 100% on him. Anyway, she gets the first aid, and after a tense back and forth, she somehow gets him to sit down and be still so she can play doctor on him. He just stares at her the whole time. She leaves to go get lunch with Noah since Caleb scares her and she doesn't want to be alone with him. Chapter 9 is Noah. Why? Why, God, why? Okay, so he is banging someone named Remy, I guess. She's his ex's 18-year-old sister. Isn't that just precious? Apparently, all of the women within a 30-mile radius just compete to be the boy's best lays of the week. He isn't even enjoying himself, having to, quote, conjure a sordid memory from high school to get and stay hard. Classy. You're thinking of children. Wow, that is something that needs to be unpacked with a professional. He's both bored and annoyed with this girl and having a hard time arriving at his destination. And he's literally like telling us, it's not a secret, he is grossed out by her while he's choosing to do her. Personally, I love when men just view women as objects to bang, but at the same time, they not so secretly hate them. Makes all the sense in the world. I clench my jaw, the feel of her sweat making me feel like the walls are closing in. I want it off me. I close my eyes. I need out of this room. Is he having a panic attack because he is voluntarily choosing to do the sex with this woman that he actually hates? Yeah, Greg, can't seem to find it in my heart to care there, big fella. Out of this house, out of the woods, off this mountain. I don't care if I ever see another tree in my life, because maybe now that I've every woman within 50 miles. Oh my God, my bad. That is on me. I said 30 miles and clearly I underestimated your range. I can't look at myself in the mirror anymore. I've reached the end of my rope and won't be so chicken shit that I can't stand up to my dad. He talks a bit more about how disgusting he finds Remy, which I am just, we're eating. She tells him that she loves him and he fills her up. Ooh, man, he didn't arrive, and he's wearing a rubber, and so he calls her a dunderhead in his mind, and tells us that it's cool if he doesn't arrive. It's whatever. At least women leave his room happy. Not like the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. I walk a lonely road. That's my father's bed when they realize he only wants sex and not a relationship or Skid Row. Upstairs in Caleb's room where women are lucky to leave alive. I'm so... What? Is this hyperbole? What do you mean? Because you just all but confirmed that he's a violent artist. So how am I to feel? What am I to do? I, on the other hand, am really good at this shit. Okay, I believe you. I believe you. He gives her a on the cheek or something that he hopes says, go away, I'm done now, and then grabs a beer from his mini fridge. It's 7 a.m. Functioning alcoholics, violent criminals, and R-wordists all over the house. Man, Tiernan is really just raking in the family here. Family, 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 family.
If this is love, I do not want it.
Tiernan is trying to get to the shower so she can get all the chicken shit off of her, but Noah needs to shower too. There is a bathroom downstairs. How fun would that be? How fun would that be? Plus, she may be covered in chicken shit, but he's covered in that girl that he just voluntarily banged sweat. It's much, much worse. When Remy pops out in just a big t-shirt to find them roughhousing over the bathroom, Noah locks them both in and tells her that she just needs to stay in there and be quiet with him until Remy goes away. Jake starts yelling after him too, and he continues to hold Tiernan hostage in the bathroom and says that if they're real quiet, everyone will go away. Man, if only that were true. Let's try it. Oh, fuck! Yeah, so they're in the bathroom, and it's kind of fun hiding like this with her. It's like having a little sister and hiding from your parents. Is it? Is that what it's like? Anyway, they chat. It's boring. I'm bored. They're both in the tub now. Like, they fell in or something during the scuffle or whatever. They're still scuffling up a little bit, splashing water and tickling, and oh my god, it's just like having a sister. It's not like that, actually. I hate it here. The plan does work somehow, despite them being loud as shit in the bathroom with each other. Everyone leaves them alone, and so they just keep chatting in the bathroom, alone, in the water, the way you do with your chicken shit soaked cousin. She tells him how much she loves the beach, riveting, and that one day she swiped a car and went to the beach all by herself and walked into the ocean with a backpack full of books. She tried to season 3, episode 16 Meredith Grey herself, but in the end she dropped the pack and swam back to shore. And we're happy for you. Finally, she's like, you should wash up. But since they're both soaked, she just stays in the shower with him as he takes off all of his clothes. I guess. Did I read that right? Oh, she turns her back on him, but still, ugh. Then he gets out and it's her turn to shower, and the silhouette of her as she sheds clothes from behind the shower curtain is almost too much for him to bear. Mouth-watering is the word that he uses, I believe, and he starts to think that he might have a nice winter here with her. He keeps drooling over her literal shadow. What is this, Peter Pan? And wonders if maybe she could like him like that. Maybe it could happen once. Their little secret. Heck no, she just lost her parents, dude. Chill. And then he leaves the bathroom. Thank you, finally. Get away from me. Time skip, they're at the lake. It's a fun family day at the lake with fishing and swimming and drinking. You remember. The boys head up to the cliff to jump off. Maybe somebody won't make it.
Hey, maybe you'll die.
Oh, we can hope. And on the way up, Noah tells Caleb she's a good reason to stay. Nod once if you've been thinking the same things I'm thinking. Caleb pauses, but does not nod. He doesn't have to nod, does he? Like, he just tried to R her a few nights ago. Are we done? They both peer over the side of the cliff and see Tiernan barely fitting into her bikini top. And he asks Caleb, hey, so what'd she feel like? I'm so sorry. Caleb just keeps climbing and scowling, and Noah's like, don't scare her off. If she stays, I'll stay. For the winter anyway. Oh good. Yay, that's great news. Chapter 10 is Tiernan. She's fishing and Jake wanders up behind her, and she tells us, we are so lucky to know all this stuff. She tells us that she hadn't wanted Noah to leave the shower and that she was waiting for him to touch her. Great. Great. They have a chat about how she doesn't like to ask for help and how she wanted to learn to fish so that she wasn't the only one who didn't know how to or whatever. He pulls that move that we've seen creepy men do in bars or on golf courses for millennia at this point, comes up behind her to show her how to hold the pole, how to cast it out. He also says that there's a cave behind the waterfall, and she says, sounds like a great place for teens to misbehave. And he's like, yeah, so if anyone ever wants to take you there, you'll know what he's after. So she's like, you should take me then. I mean, it'll be safer with you, right? Fucking idiots, the lot of you. She leans into him as he shows her how to cast out one more time. Let me tell you one thing real quick. I have never in my life found fishing to be arousing. Maybe I'm just different. He says they haven't had a woman up here in so long that he thought he was protecting the boys, holding them up out here away from everybody. Blah, blah, blah. They're close. They're stirring. They are related. Stop. She drops the pole in the water like a dweeb, and she's like, I gotta go swim, like right now. She's disgusted with how damp she was getting long before she entered the lake. You understand? So she heads to the waterfall to find that cave he was talking about. So she sits alone in the cave and thinks about how she shouldn't have wanted Noah in the shower, and she should have stopped Caleb right the same instant it started. It was an attack. We can let that one go. But she shouldn't have gone all goopy when her uncle was teaching her how to fish. All these things, well, aside from the attack, are true. Yes.
They are. But she's safe with her thoughts, though. Thoughts can't hurt you. False. So she lets her thoughts wander to Jake. Uncle? Jake, yeah, he's there with her. He's touching her. So she's touching her. How sweet. Uncle Jake, she's 17 and 40, and he's in his 40s. Uncle Jake. Uncle. Anyway, she's just about to arrive when she hears a girl's voice from behind her in the cave. What the heck? Cece's there with a bloody nose, and she is being followed by Caleb. Of course it is. They both walk right on by her because who cares? And she is alone yet again. She emerges from the cave, and everyone is packing up to go to something called a pop-up race. Time skip, they're in the town where the pop-up race is being held. I'm envisioning something similar to those dumb street races that we saw in the Fast and Furious movies, just with dirt bikes, I guess. But it's not just that. Oh no, it's an opportunity to network and market themselves and the services that they offer. And Tiernan's like, what do I do? And they're like, keep your butt in our tent, that's what. Hot, thanks cuz. I just have to take a moment here and say that I think Penelope Douglas must have just really fallen in love with the phrase pop-up while writing this novel, because not only is there a pop-up race, but they also brought their pop-up tent to the pop-up race. Since I'm here, I should also tell you that I did search the entire book and found 40 or so instances of the term pop. Pops up, popping down the tailgate, pops two in his mouth, pop hits, pop mom and pop store, pops my eyes open, pop-up race, and yes, pop-up tent.
Pop-up video.
I haven't even gotten to the sexy bits yet. I bet there's gonna be a lot of pop in there. Anyway, back to the story. T is reeling and trying to make sense of what she saw before when she was in the cave. Cece had a bloody nose. How did that happen? I bet I can fucking guess. She should talk to Jake about it. Since he still doesn't know how aggressive Caleb is, I bet you that he does know. I bet he does. And he just doesn't care. You should talk to somebody though. Maybe that's step 2. Step 1 being get on a plane and get the heck out of there. Anyway, the two boys head off and leave her and Jake, Uncle Jake, in the pop-up tent to set it up, plus all the signage and stuff. And once they're all set, they turn on the Bluetooth speaker they brought with them and quote, "Rats, nobody rides for free." Pops on, and I will never not notice every single instance of the word pop popping up. Yes, thank you for asking. She starts handing out decals without having to be asked, and she thinks to herself, it isn't fair that the boys don't help Uncle Jake more. This feels very much like when you were younger, did you ever go over to your friend's house and spend the night and you knew that they had said like some pretty heinous stuff about the way their parents were and how they treated them at home, but when you were over, they were on their best behavior? So you're like, I don't know why she's always complaining. Her mom's so nice to me. It's almost like this is not your everyday. It's not your entire worldview. And your autonomy hasn't been stripped away in such a manner that when you grow to resent these circumstances over time, it reflects on your relationship and your perception of your parents. It's almost like being somewhere for a fucking week doesn't give you the full scope of what might be at play here, but what the fuck do I know? Noah shows back up in his racing gear and decides to grab her t-shirt, lift it up, and tie it right below her chest, and says that if she bears it all, they will come. I love that. I love that. Don't ask, just decide. I don't have cousins. Thank God. But if this is how cousins act, I don't want any. The race is starting and Jake isn't even bothering to watch. He doesn't care. He's just working on something else. He doesn't care enough to watch his own kid in this race. Hey, Tiernan, real quick, does this factor into how sorry you felt for him just a second ago that the kids aren't more helpful to him? Seems like it should factor in some sort of a way. She is so frantic. Nobody's watching Noah. Someone should be. And I understand, right? Because she's neglected, and she knows because she was neglected, right? And so she knows that there's a hole inside of her that will never be filled. No, I guess it will be. But yeah, it makes sense that she would be like a little bit dramatic about this because it is important actually to show up for your children, but not important enough to her to see the parallel in his parenting and her own parents' parenting. Whatever, she's a child. What am I, I don't know. Whatever, the race has started and dust flies, engine roar, crowd cheers. She's so exhilarated watching her cousin, who's winning the race by the way. She almost cheers, but claps instead, very demure, very mindful, thinking to herself that he looks good. Hey, Noah, could you hang a sharp left and just run me over like a dog? Great, thank you. Noah pops a wheelie as he crosses the finish line, victorious, and she is just so proud she could burst. You've known these people for like 4 days. How can Jake not watch his own son? I don't know.
Tiernan grabs some nachos and tries to suss out why he wouldn't want to watch Noah when she returns. She starts asking him a bunch of questions. And then Noah returns, flanked by a crowd of people. He takes her nachos from her, dabs some cheese on her nose, boop, and then sucks it off. Noah, to his father, says, I could help the shop more if I was on TV. I'm good at this, and I love it. And Jake's like, it's not a career, it's not real, whatever. And then Tiernan finally understands. Not enough to not still eventually want to do all these people, but she starts to ask Jake about it when Cece, you remember Cece, appears and they have their first actual conversation, and it is just as disappointing as the rest of this. She asks if she wants to dance, and Tiernan says no, and Cece makes her anyway because nobody in this book understands boundaries. So she pulls her out by the bonfire and they start a grinding up on each other. Cece's like, don't worry, I know you're straight, but I'm safer than most of the guys here. Yeah. Are ya? At least I can't get you pregnant. I guess that's a win. It's fun, really, that everybody just forces interaction and physical touch on the 17-year-old child. I don't know about you, but I'm down. Cece's like, I know you were watching us in the cave. You want him and you're jealous. And Tiernan's like, actually, I was just DJing myself in the water and hid in the cave. And Cece's like, I should tell the tabloids that you said that. You're kind of famous, right? But Tiernan's not scared and says that it won't matter because in a few weeks, she'll be locked away with them. Winter long. And she turns to see Caleb just staring at her as he tends to do when he's not attacking her. And she is just firm about it. And then Uncle Jake appears to snatch her away saying, quote, everyone with a dick is watching you two. Would you have done that if I was dancing with a boy? He probably would have killed someone if you were dancing with a boy, just based on past interactions. And he's like, no, I would have taken you over my knee. Great. Anyway, they are leaving and she is big mad about it. So she goes to pout in the truck while they put up all the stuff. Let them pack up the pop-up tent from the pop-up race. Don't forget the pop-up tent. Anybody want a Pop-Tart? They load up and a bunch of girls come with them. And she notes the hypocrisy of it all. Like her not being allowed to dance with a girl, but they can horizontally dance with any woman within a 50-mile radius, you recall, and not have any problems with that. Yes, dear, that's a double standard. And the shit he says on the drive home cements that theory. Something about claim. They're not claimed, but she is because she belongs to them. You live in our house till you turn 18. Gross. No, I won't let you forget that she's a freaking kid. And then she's like, yeah, but other men can do to me what you can't, so whatever. And they have a stare down or something. I don't know. Noah's in the car like, what the fuck is going on here? And same. Chapter 11 is Tiernan. She wakes up from another nightmare so vivid, so disturbing that she pukes, but she calms herself down like the girl boss she is. And she talks about some house, some cold, hard house with sharp edges everywhere and how she never wants to go back there again. I don't know what she's talking about. I'm assuming it will be revealed later on in the text. She grounds herself in reality. Caleb's stomping in the room above her. Noah banging some girl in the room next to her. She can hear the moans once again. Can I just say this is worse than the nightmare? Is that too much? She agrees with me, actually, but just because. I wish he was alone. He'd probably let me crawl into bed with him tonight if I wanted, like a big brother keeping the wolves at bay because I had a scary dream. I know that she's an actual child, but this is far below her age. I wouldn't try, not even if he were alone, but it's a nice little fantasy. Warm, safe, comfort. Noah's like that. Is he? She keeps listening to the moaning and starts to feel jealous. And she goes out into the hallway to only hear more moaning and giggling. This is just a sex house. This is just a weird bumpkin sex house in the middle of nowhere. She heads downstairs to chug water and ponder on just how she's supposed to survive here with them all winter. Don't leave. And the weird feelings that she has about them. Puke. Of course, she's in her underwear and a tank top. Of course she is. And Jake's just sitting in the corner of the room in the dark, not saying anything. Uncle Jake, by the way. She's like, where's your friend? He's like, at her house. She's like, I was hungry. Are you? Yeah. He doesn't tell her to get dressed, put some clothes on. Nothing like that. No. So she just starts making breakfast, enjoying the way he's looking at her. That makes one of us. So she's making him breakfast in her silk panties and tank top. She licks cheese off of her finger and then whispers, here you go, when she passes him his food. And he asks her why she ran away from him at the lake today. He doesn't think it was a good idea for them to take her. They're not good influences for a girl. And she's all Britney Spears, I'm not a girl. And then he asks if she's ever been with a man. That's not... Okay, I must have missed the part of the book where we time traveled back to a puritanical society. He says he's sorry that she has to see them here rutting like wild animals. Well, you are wild animals, are you not? But it's just prep for winter because they'll be stuck for months without anything pretty to look at. Then he runs his finger down her spine. Y'all, 17, niece, child niece. I knew. I just don't know. He's like, you should leave. And she's like, I thought you said I was home. That she's always alone and she's tired of it. Bless her heart. Literally. She asks why her parents gave her to him. Maybe they knew it was the only good thing they could do for me. Ew. I don't think they, I know they didn't care about this girl. Like, they obviously didn't want to be parents and they like ignored her and neglected her and all this other stuff. But I doubt, unless they were just absolutely malicious and sinister beings, which, I mean, I guess they were because they made that other girl run off. But anyway, with their own child, I don't think they would want you just out here railing her in the woods. That's not, that wasn't in the will. She tries to leave, but he grabs her and says, do you feel this? He growls over my lips and then pushes me into the sink. The thick, hard ridge of his nudges my ass. And I groan. This is what you're doing to me, Tiernan. I'm sorry, are we blaming the child? Are we blaming the child? Can't do that. No. It's not right. Instead of pile driving the hot ass I came home with, I'm sitting down here trying to talk myself out of going into your room and giving the teenage piece of ass living in my house a really long kiss goodnight. Teenage piece of ass living in my house. How sweet. She responds with, would I need to take my panties off for that? Girl, as a mother, you need to go to your room. You need to grab something solid. You need to push something heavy in front of the door and book a flight. Catch flights, not feelings, am I right? I want a lobotomy. And they need one too. Maybe there's a Groupon. There's no time to check because they kiss. She's hot, it's hot, or so I'm told. They get to first base, rounding second, and then she's like, I've never touched a man before. Duh. Yeah, that makes sense. You're a child. I've never touched a man before, but I want to touch you. Take me to bed. And he's like dry humping her over the sink, giving a whole new meaning to the word drying rack. But then he snaps out of it and is like, this is wrong. I'm your uncle. Yeah. But then instantly starts making this her fault. The child says that this is her acting out, trying to connect and get away from her grief. Says that she, quote, never smiles, never feels joy, has no dreams, no plans, no fight in her. You're barely alive, Tiernan. Okay. Well, what's your excuse for dry humping her against the dishes? What is it? Dost thou also feel joy not? Anyway, then he pivots and is like, but that wasn't always the case, huh? You wanted things and now you just need a release. I could have been anyone. He is trying to make her feel guilty and like she is using him. Ugh. He continues to badly psychoanalyze this very horny, lonely, damaged child without ever taking a moment to look at himself, just projecting all his issues onto her. We love it. We love it. She's once again a child. Finally, she breaks and unleashes a well of sadness and all of her grief. What else was she going to do? What was the goal here, you ass? She says, they didn't even leave me a note. Why would they do that? And he answers in the most poetic thing, the best sonnet of a line that we've heard yet. Allow me. Because they were fuckers, baby. They were fucking fuckers. She cries some more and he sends her back to her room with food and says that she shouldn't dress like that around the house, especially this winter, because apparently they are all just ravenous wild animals with no self-control, as we've seen demonstrated multiple times. She asked the question that I don't care to know the answer to, but here we are. If this was just me acting out, what was it for him? Yeah, I know. That's what I said. That's what I said. That's what I was saying. Chapter 12. Tiernan. She and Jake are riding back from some target practice. Love that. In the woods, and Noah and Caleb show up and scream that they want cheeseburgers. Me too, a little bit. honestly. And they head into town. She goes with them, squished in between them in the truck. They order cheeseburgers and give the girl at the drive-thru window a hard time, in which she responds by dumping a cup of soda on them. Since there's soda everywhere, Caleb lifts her up and sits her on his lap. What a sweetie angel. And she stays there for the rest of the trip. I mean, that's a problem solver right there. He is obviously the brains of the whole operation. If that's the case, I am filled with apprehension. It's just such a clever way of forcing proximity and physical touch on her and having a nice little excuse to do so. I love it. I thought we were just gonna be raping the whole time. So this is a breath of fresh air. Speaking of clever, time skip. They're back at the peak and Jake is teaching her self-defense. Forced proximity and physical touch. I love this plot device. Imagine how tired we are.
Imagine how tired we are of it.
He gets hard. No surprise. No surprise there. Mireille calls to ask Tiernan how she is. The funeral's in a few days. She asks Mireille for a flight tonight, to book her a flight tonight. And Jake starts to give her the keys to the truck to drive herself to the airport and tells her to leave it in the lot so she'll have it when she gets back. And she kind of pauses. And he's like, oh, you're not coming back. Okay, let me know when you're ready to go. And then he walks off. Chapter 13, Tiernan again. She's at the funeral. It's a beautiful day, wouldn't you know it. She chats with her nanny about potentially saying some words if she wants to. She mentions that when she was little and had night terrors, she only stopped when her nanny was sleeping with her. And Mireille says that she just needed a home. That's why that when she slept with her, she would calm down. And home isn't a place. It's a feeling. And this is revolutionary to Tiernan, but it's showtime. They get out of the car at the funeral and a bunch of people start saying kind things about her parents. And she starts rage crying over how much she hates them. And honestly, I feel that. Chapter 14 is Noah. Putting the no in Noah. He's up getting coffee, and Caleb is also up, but he went hunting already and hadn't been back since she left, apparently. Jake, Uncle Jake is also up moving around, but everybody misses her. You can feel her absence in this home or some shit. I miss coming downstairs and seeing lights on. Girls like it cozy and warm. Oh yeah? Because men only like it uncomfortable, cold, with no light. Are they vampires? If they were. This book is a love story, but it's a love story between like incest and misogyny. A match made in hell. Welcome. Pull up a chair. So Noah, the one who so badly wants to leave the peak, not to be controlled by his dad, remember, tells Unky Jake, just go get her. She's not an adult. You can make her come back here. This is her place. It's your say. I'm so sorry. Hypocrisy. All around, it seems. Double standards for everyone. Oh, I'm sorry. Just for Tiernan. And then just then, they hear footsteps, but Caleb's not home. Who's upstairs? Why, it's Tiernan, of course. She apparently came back and snuck in the middle of the night. I feel like this makes it even more obvious that the self-defense stuff was just an excuse to touch on her. Because how are you some kind of trained mountain man hunter of a dude and you didn't know that a 17-year-old girl snuck into your house? Anyway, she's back and she's barking out orders. Do this. This needs to be done. We need to do this. And boy, did they miss her. I'm so glad she's back. They never would have survived without the girl they've known for a week, maybe two. And yet here you are. Time skip. He is finishing up his work and then yells for her so that they can go get drunk again. One more time. She's 17. They gather around for a good old-fashioned grill out. Is this a pop-up grill out? Caleb is back. I don't know when or how or why, but here he is. And they all sit down to eat and get fucked up because woo! We got her all winter. They make a bet. Whoever eats the slowest loses. If she eats the slowest, she has to take shots. 17. And if Noah eats the slowest, he has to cook breakfast all week. She feeds her steak to the dogs, and Noah's like, what the fuck? And she's like, semantics. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. They continue eating and chatting. Caleb grunts or something and pushes half his food onto her plate for her, which he already cut up into cubes. How sweet. I love how they both want to control her and bang her and also treat her like a child, like the child she is. They have some conversation about some advice that her mom gave her about loves. Like, you get 3 before you can really commit. I don't know. It was all stupid. So her mother said she shouldn't get married until she's had at least 3 loves. Lust, learn, learn, and love. So the first one is supposed to be lust, because you think you love them, but you don't. It's just lust. The second love is to learn. Learn about yourself. Learn what you're capable of. Number 2 is somewhat to be used in a way. And the third one is for love, because now you know who you are and you know what you want, and you can fully love someone and they can love you. And you know what? I honestly feel like this is going to come back up later because there's 3 of them. Isn't that convenient? She ends it by saying that being stuck there all winter long with them is perfect. More specifically, it's a perfect chastity belt. Well, and he thinks to himself, it's going to be a long freaking winter. I bet it is. It's a long freaking book, that's for sure. Chapter 15, Tiernan. Ooh, so they've been making runs into town for supplies to, prep for being snowed in for months now that the snow's almost here. It's November to April, I believe. But hey, November, you know what that means? Birthday girl. Oh my God, Scorpio Queen. She is going to be 18 and legal before they all take turns railing her. Man, that was close. They're in the pharmacy picking up more birth control for her because she's trying to stock up. And Noah bought her a gift for her birthday. A t-shirt with their logo on it. So I guess he didn't buy it. He got it. Oh, and a hat. So I guess he bought that because the hat says Wild. And the part of me that perished while reading The Wild by Kay Webster rolled over in its grave. All of this is just the same recycled nonsense. But you know what? I'm going to give flowers. I'm going to give them one flower. One single flower for you, Penelope. This isn't terribly written. It's not great, but it's not terribly written. It's not the worst we've seen. And also, just some of the spicy scenes aren't that bad. When you take into account, you take the relations out, I would definitely, probably, maybe, read more books from Penelope Douglas in the future that maybe are a little less grimy, a little less rapey, a little less incest, a little less family ties, if such a book exists. It's not terrible. It's long-winded and drawn out and choppy, yes, but it's not the worst, not by far. So one single rose for you. Courtesy of Zaid. After she thanks him and hugs him, he just spills. He just starts spilling everywhere. Foreshadowing. My mom's calls me from prison sometimes. She wants money, and I give it to her because I just like to feel needed. But I really just wish she'd die. Wow, spilling. Thank you for spilling. So that means she got 3 birthday gifts from Noah. The shirt, the hat, and the tea. What a lucky gal. Later on, maybe she'll get the dick. We love spoiling a girl on her birthday. Speaking of... It's my birthday, or it was a couple days ago. And my friend Becca sent me, not trauma dumping, no. She sent me this cute little pillow that says Capricorn on it. And I love it. Thank you, Becca. I promise more unhinged Bible study is coming. Anyway, back to it. He pivots back to the shirt convo and gets her to try it on in the store before they leave. It fits, but not too tight, per his request. And he also says that he's glad she's back. No local boys get to touch you tonight. And she agrees. Time skip, they're back at home and she's twirling around in the new sundress that she bought. And honestly, same. She just had to grab it while she was in town. Never mind that it's winter. It's about to snow. This is, okay. It doesn't matter because tonight's her birthday and she's going to wear what she wants. And listen to me very carefully. As a Capricorn born in January, I get it. There's not a lot of really cute outfits in the winter. You have to dig for them. And I so wish that I had gotten to spend a lot of my birthdays just in the sunshine with a flippy little dress down by the beach or something. I have to wear long sleeve dresses and fleece lined tights. But even that's an improvement. We didn't have fleece lined tights. Back in my day, we had to wear regular ass tights and walk 5 miles to even look at a birthday cake. Anyway, she's the adult now. She makes the rules. So she says sundress. Anyway, Caleb's there watching her dance around like an idiot in her room as he lurks in the doorway. So she just closes the door on him, and honestly, a power move. She finishes getting ready. So again, in this little hillbilly nothing town, she's wearing a sundress, fur shawl, and Louboutins. In this economy? In literally this economy. She heads downstairs and Jake is annoyed because she's overdressed and she's like, chill dude, it's fine. I'm doing what I want. I'm an adult. Whatever. It's time for gifts. Yes, more gifts. Maybe we'll get more trauma. He bought her a pink compound bow so they can go shooting. That's so exciting. She goes to follow Jake to the truck, Uncle Jake, but Caleb steps in front of her and gifts her this brown leather belt, which I am very certain will never come up again, ever. The belt, it seems, he made himself, and it comes complete with etchings in the leather. There's a cave and a mountain and her braid and a dream catcher. OMG. Why a dream catcher? And she notices that the notches go almost all the way to the end, and she's like, I'm so sorry, boys. My waist isn't that small. And Noah comes in and he's like, but your wrists are. Time skip. Dinner at a 2-star local restaurant, but she wouldn't have it any other way. Noah, for some reason, is in possession of her phone, and so he starts looking through her pictures, and there's some of a photo shoot she did with Vanity Fair last spring. So when she was 16, 17, she says she was kind of proud of it and that she looked kind of sexy. Kids aren't sexy. Noah jokes that they should add these pics to the website and sex up the homepage. Again, children aren't sexy. If they are sexy to you, seek professional help. I beg you. She asks for a non-virgin beer since it's her birthday. You've been getting sloshed this whole time. And Uncle Jake's like, that's fine, let's go to the bar. She's not 21. She's 18. They buy a round for everybody and they play foosball.
Foosball? You playing the foosball behind my back?
Jake goes to get a refill and she goes to change the music on the juke. She chooses Do You Want to Touch Me by Joan Jett. Of course she does. I guess Closer by 9 Inch Nails wasn't on there. And the crowd goes wild. Big Joan Jett fans, I guess. A bachelorette party even shows up, pulls her in to dance with them. Oh my God, so fun. And she notices during her free-for-all dance party with the bachelorette girlies that Jake, Uncle Jake, and Cousin Noah are both watching her. Not out of anger this time, no. Their eyes on her this time feel different, and she loves it. And then Terrence, I think, whatever, I don't care. Terrence, T-Dog, walks up with Cece and they like box her in. They have a gaggle of people with them. And she looks around for her family, but suddenly they aren't there. Just a bunch of Terrence's boys. She's being swarmed. Cece's like, what if I told you that Caleb did hit me in the cave? What are we doing? Where did you come from? Who cares? Bye, this is over. And what if I told you that he wants to make you bleed too? He's just waiting until you can't escape. And then Tiernan thinks to herself, Caleb isn't like that. I'm so begging you to be for real. I am on my knees, metaphorically, and asking you for a pardon. One single fucking pardon. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He tried to argue the first night you met him. Anyway, Cece keeps going and tries to scare her a little more. They only want you for your money and your body all winter long. They're related. Does no one where are we? Is this a time in a world where none of these like limits exist? They don't really want you. They're just gonna use you, and now that you're legal, they can. Do you hear my neck pop? Thankfully, Caleb shows up in the nick of time, gives her a kiss on her forehead, gets her away from them, and she's like, they do like me. They do want me. Ma'am. Anyway, a bar fight breaks out because of course it does, and lots of property damage ensues, and then they scram on out of there because Terrence, and the gang and the cops are hot on their heels. They run over dudes' bikes just for good measure at the end, which doesn't make sense because more bikes are chasing them in a second and it's assumedly the same people, but whatever, we don't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. They head up the mountain back towards the peak, and to lose everyone, they kill the lights and then turn off the road and just drive through the woods.
Over the woods, to grandmother's house we go.
Except grandmother isn't there. And if grandmother was there, she would be ashamed of you. This is just, all of this is bad. But this is just not okay with me. This is where I get stuck. I get stuck here. So I'm gonna pull you in with me. I'm like quicksand. As a child who was once in the woods more than I was in my own home, you can't just drive a vehicle through the woods unless you're driving a tank that will literally level the forest, which deforestation is a real issue. There are trees, gulches, fallen limbs, etc., etc. You wouldn't make it very far. If these woods are as thick as they're woods. They're woods in the wilderness, wild woods. You wouldn't make it very far. Like I said, unless you're driving a tank, which they're not. It's some sort of Chevrolet. And I know that Chevy's all, but it still has its limits, okay? I just hate it. I think it's so goddamn dumb. But whatever, nothing matters, and it works. One by one, people seem to be turning away, turning back towards town, leaving them alone. They disappear from behind them, probably because of the combination of not wanting to slam into an oak tree in the darkness, and just because they don't want to risk getting stuck out there with the snowstorm that has already begun and is breathing down their necks. So they lost all their pursuers, and they head on back into the house. I can't let this go. You cannot turn a truck, a regular ass truck, off of the path through the woods and just drive through the woods. Anyway, she's worried, and they're probably not worried. Of course they're not worried because they know that she will be inaccessible till April Cheers. Chapter 16, Tiernan. She's watching the snow from her window as it starts to pile up higher and higher outside her window. It's so pretty, but what's this? It's the belt that Caleb makes. She notices it on the end of her bed. So she tries it onto her wrist and has some sort of reaction, shivers, and then notices that her fire has gone out. So she goes downstairs to get another log. This book is a log. Before going back upstairs, she warms herself by the fire down there, and then she pops her eyes open and notices that Caleb is just sitting in a chair, a beer in one hand and a shotgun in the other, watching. If this picture I just painted doesn't make you damp, I don't know what will. Are you a statue? Noah wanders in too, and she's confusion because she thought they were safe. But he's like, precaution should Terrence show up. Watch a movie with us. Okay. Ugh. So they snuggle up on the couch together, she and Noah, and Caleb in his own little chair, his own little world. They grab some beers. She's 18. And they're watching a Tom Cruise movie, in which, while his parents are out of town, young Tom Cruise tries to lose his virginity, so he hires a sex worker in order to do so. Sure, fine, whatever. My Google search says that is risky business. Never seen it, never wanted to see it. Not a big Tom Cruise fan, even before Scientology ruined him beyond all reason. But hey, I'm reading this, so you can't trust me ever. Noah laughs and says, this is pretty much how I lost my virginity. Charming. A prostitute? An older woman who only wanted one thing. Your money? This causes Caleb to laugh. Oh my God. Did I make him laugh? Did he laugh? Did I do that? God, what a rush. Alexa, play Come Down by Bush. Speaking of Bush, I'm just kidding. Or am I? She sets down her beer. She's 18. I hate to be a square, but Jesus Christ. And she's like, sorry the night didn't work out better for you guys. And they're like, what? And she's like, y'all don't have anyone to play with all winter long. This might have been your last chance. And Noah's like, maybe. Just to recap, she's already made out with Uncle. Dry-humped Uncle. So great. I feel like we're getting to the part that I don't want to be at. Then she says, that's right. I mean, you can't be the only people up here, right? There have to be other mountain men. He looks over at me. Excuse me? More warm bodies, I clarify, maintaining a straight face. There have to be more guys holed up in the cabins up here, right? It's okay. It happens in prison. Gay for the stay. I don't know what, I'm stalling out. This causes Noah to say, excuse me, and then grabs her and starts a tickle fight. What about you? I saw you, Cece. Maybe being gay turns you on.
Is this how straight people flirt?
Yeah, honestly, I saw this going a little bit differently in my mind, like a little bit more aggressive and hostile. I ain't gay, I ain't no queer, let me show you. And like, kind of thing. But this isn't much better. Volleyballing it back and forth. I'm gay. No, you're gay. I'm gay. You're gay. Okay. I wish everyone was gay because I don't think this book would be here. Anyway, he keeps tickling her, grabs her by the collar, makes her pay $1 and pulls her onto his lap and says, do you want to see how we really deal with the seclusion? No, don't. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know it. Please take it away. Anyway, he turns the TV to Corn Station. Not ick to corn, of course, do it up, but ick to watching it with your 18-year-old cousin and your brother in the same room. She closes her eyes. I wish that I could. It's a boy and a girl in the film, teenagers. They're making out in the car, and I can tell from the conversation that they're in the woods on a rainy night, secluded and alone, or so they think. I love when grown men invite their teenaged cousin to watch corn of teenagers. Sensational. I know that age play is a thing in corn that often shows up, and that helps us explore deviant behaviors and taboo interests in a safe way, right? Yes, I know. But she didn't say adults made to look like teens. She said teens. She said teenagers. But what's happening in the corn? I'm glad you asked. It's vividly detailed, which I will only be giving you cliff notes. The cops pull up, because of course they do, and they catch him in the act, because of course they do, and the guy, the teenager boy, has warrants out, and the girl is his get out of jail free card. You get it. As long as he's willing to share with the fuzz. Well, and she is growing, Tiernan is growing damp at this situation as she sits atop her cousin's lap and he rubs her hand while they watch. I don't know why I'm yelling. I need to calm down. I'm an adult. I need to calm down. I knew what this book was before I dived in, but it's just so gross. I don't like it. Anyway, he's like, this is what we do. Caleb is still there too, just breathing heavy in the chair. Okay, I'm not well. So you're telling me that even before she got here, you said, do you really want to see how we deal with the seclusion? He didn't say how we're going to deal, future. He said, do you want to see how we deal? Present tense verb, which implies in my mind that not only are they about to do it right now in the present moment, done it before. So do they just sit in the darkness next to each other, watch corn and jack it together? Oh my God. Anyway, the corn continues. Noah's like, you'll do it too, Tiernan. I think you should go to bed now. What will she do? What will she do? Tiernan hasn't left yet. She's not. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna leave. She cuts her eyes to Noah and then the TV and then Noah and the TV. And he's like, last chance for you to leave. You should leave now. You should. You should. You just hop on a jet plane and never look back. I don't want this to happen. If I close the book right now and never continue, it cannot do me harm. But it can and it will. So onward we go. She stays and settles in under a blankie and Noah is bricked up about it. So he just takes his stick out. I know this is probably supposed to be hot, but I just can't. Your brother is right there. It's not funny. So he takes, I'm so sorry. He takes his shirt off and then his hand and asks her if she wants to watch. And one, she already is. And two, Caleb's still in the room. I want to die, but I won't because I have work to do. Anyway, he keeps on. He's just pumping it. Good for him. Woo! And she watches him in the movie and him in the movie. And she is basically a slip and slide on the couch next to him. And that's just so much fun. Slip and slides are so much fun. She continues giving us a vivid play-by-play of the corn on the television, but I would rather not. So if it's fine with you, I'm not gonna. Actually, even if it's not, I'm not going to. You can't make me do everything. Caleb is also rock hard. Yeah, of course. And she notices it. But like, what is he hard at? The film? Her? Or the proximity to his brother's neck that's just flopping about to and fro? It is an important question, Caleb. Answer quickly. She puts her leg on Noah's lap and he rubs her thigh with one hand and continues on his journey with the other. She can't take it. And she starts to have a moment with herself under the blanket. They're all wrapped up in some sort of version of self-pleasure now. And man, what a fun time I'm having. Can you tell? Can you tell? And then she realizes that there's no more noise on the TV. She blinks her eyes open to see that the TV's off and the blanket has fallen down and there she is exposed and playing around in the DJ booth. And they're just watching her. She starts to stop, but he's like, don't stop. She keeps going. Great. And they watch her. Caleb sits next to her head on the couch, brushes hair out of her face while Noah gives her kisses all over her face. Takes her shorts off, even though she literally says no. Just need to note that there. She says no, but who cares? He does it anyway. And Noah says, looks like we might have something fun to play with this winter after all. She starts to say something in protest, but Noah kisses her to shut her up, and it works. His lips are so soft. The prettiest one was under our roof the whole time. You're ours. He presses his forehead to mine. Our sweet little one. All blech. That is disgusting. All ours. Do you understand? He kisses my forehead, my nose, and I move my hand away, liking the feel of his more. Oh yeah, he rubs his on her hand while she's rubbed. It's a sandwich. And no, none for me. All of these boys are so poetic. He goes on. Our piece of ass. Ours. He also turns to Caleb and says, not to bruise her until she's used to us. That is so kind. So goddamn sweet. And Tiernan's down to clown too. She's like just happy they're there and they're hot. And she doesn't even care what they want to do to her. She just wants them to do it to her. So happy for you. Oh man, revving up for this next sentence here. I get your cherry. As long as I promise not to touch your ass. He'll want that. Let's take a bet now, okay? I don't approve of gambling, okay? Gambling problem, call 1-800 blah, blah, blah. Let's make a wager. Who will actually get her cherry? Crass, I know, but here we are. We're all in this together. I can make cases for all of them getting it, honestly. So first up, we have Uncle Jake. And Uncle Jake should get it because he's the man of the house. He's the dad. He's the uncle. And then we have Noah. And Noah gets it because he called dibs. And the rules of dibs is that you call dibs, you get dibs. And then we have Caleb. And Caleb could get it because as we saw in their first interaction where he just started to take it without asking. So honestly, it's an even match. Put your bets in the comments, people. We have no time to waste because just then, Noah. Uh-oh, Daddy's awake and Daddy is mad. He sends the boys to bed. Tiernan starts to go too. He's like, not you. Wonder what that's about. He asks her what would have happened if you didn't come downstairs. Sir, if you just used your noodle, not that one, I bet you can figure that answer out on your own. But he doesn't. He just continues to aggressively question her. What did you want to happen? What did you want? And she's like, all of it. One of everything, please. I've never wanted to do this before, and it could have been anyone because no one cared what I did before, but no one ever felt right. Not like you. I feel you and them and this place everywhere. Shush. And you feel it too. I know you do. You got hard too. And he's like, you're 17. And she's like, 18. Man, whew. Talk about a photo finish so that this is legally okay. I'll tell you. Guess what he does next? I bet you won't. Actually, you might. He's seething, so he bends her over and spanks her. Yeah. She's mad at first, and then she steels herself and kind of leans into it, and he's like, you still feeling good? You want more? And she nods, and he's like, take your shorts off so you can feel my hand. Like, oh, God. And he sits on the couch and says, over my lap, princess. And honestly, I'm ready to... I want to burn the whole house down at this point, but she doesn't. She is... loving every minute of it. He spanks her 3 times, and he's like, are you gonna let them touch you again? And she's like, no. And he's like, no what? And she's like, no, Uncle Jay. He spanks her a couple more times, and then he leaves her there, hurt and crying on the couch. You want aftercare? Yeah, no, we're all out of that, but we've got incestuous child abuse. Hey, Beans. Beans could feel my distress. He's here. He's here for comfort. What are you doing? Say hi, Beans. Hi, Beans. All right, see you later. Anyway, chapter 17. Jake, let me tell you, I don't want to be in any of these people's heads, but least of all, the adult that's tasked with her care. He and the rest of the crew are in the trees hunting, I guess. It snows everywhere. They're up in different trees, staking out, stuff to shoot. And he is alone in his tree contraption with his thoughts. This fucking girl, this is my fault. She was lucky I was there. Is that how she wanted to be made love to for the first time? 2 at once? They don't love her. Hi. None of y'all do. Not a single near one of you. Hate to hear it, hate to see it, hate to tell you. But none of y'all love her. You're all just predators. Anyway, he's like, I was worried about her coming back from that funeral, worrying it would tempt me. I never even thought to think that they might think about pulling the same shit. Something about apples and trees, am I right? And he's fed up with her anyway. She has been nothing but short with him after he's done with her, especially because she's been so sweet and smiling at Noah and walking around in short shorts with pigtail braids, wearing that belt Caleb made her. The pigtails really bother me, but not as much as her being a literal actual child for the first chunk of this book. We're at 50%. We're at 50%. Yeah, she just turned 18. Whee! I could shrivel up and die right now. I really could, like a raisin, but I won't because we must. He spots a deer and motions to the others who are apparently all in the same tree contraption for them to focus in because she needs to be the one to take it down. And as we remember from before, she doesn't want to do that, but it's gotta be her because it's time to break Tiernan's cherry. She starts to aim, but she can't do it. No surprise there. Jake gets down out of the tree.
What the heck are those two doing in a tree?
And stalks over to her, mad, and berates her a little bit before calling her baby and telling her that he just needs to teach her this in case anything happens to them. He needs to know she can take care of herself. I wish to God something would happen to them. I am on my knees every day I read this book that something will happen to them. I watch her, not the book, and I'm mesmerized. So innocent and pure. Okay, Grimmer. Untouched and just coming alive for the first time. Something so big is just contained under her surface and I want to feel it all come apart in my arms. Tiernan is a pulse in the house. She's the pulse. No, the pulse is in your dick. And that's like common sense, I fear. Anyway, with tears, she's putting the tear in Tiernan. She draws her weapon, fires, somehow miraculously hits the deer. Hooray! Not for her though. She is devastated. He's like, good job. She's like, whatever. I just did it to make you happy and proud. I don't know why I even care that you're happy or proud. And he's like, everything you do makes me proud. And she punches him in the face. Way to go. Me too. Get one lick in for me, please. He calls her a bitch in his mind, which is just so sweet. He's so dreamy. And then they have a back and forth about how she hates him and he's a fucking joke. And I agree. And that her parents hated her. So this must be a punishment. And he's like, yeah, they owed me and you're the payment. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna check your 2 chicken shit to cash. And he kisses her. Note that he sent the boys to go get the deer. So they're not there to see it. They don't know that he's doing what they were doing and they got in trouble for it. You know, whatever. He kisses her and she kisses back. Yeah, she does. Ew. Ew. He rips off her coat and starts going to first base with her, as does she, but with his britchers. And he thinks, fuck her father. And this just gives me such a deep pause. Doesn't it give it all? Aren't we all feeling this? Deeper than the just general grossness of it all. Like, he doesn't love her either. He just thinks she's hot and hates her dad, and is a misogynistic piece of shit who thinks that women are there to pleasure and serve. That's it. They hear the boys approaching with the buck. So they can't do this where they can hear. So they like zip up. They head back towards the truck, as hard and wet as the mountain that they're standing on. He tells the boys to get in their truck and he and Tiernan will follow them back in their truck. I guess great. They get to the truck and immediately start going at it. They're not even in the truck yet. They're just opposite side of where the boys are. And Noah calls out, trying to coax her into coming with them instead. He's like, come on, Tiernan, we have beer. 18. Thankfully, they can't see through the windows because they're all frosted over, so the boys still have no idea what's afoot.
There's evil afoot.
Yes, there is. So she tells Unky Jake, I'll go with them if you want me to. He's like, no, stay. And she's like, cool. And so he tells the boys, go on, get. And they start undressing each other. I don't even want Beans to hear this. Anyway, they start undressing each other and he realizes that she's not wearing underwear. No panties. And listen to me, okay? I'm not gonna lie to you because we're friends, at least parasocial friends, and friends don't do that. The smut isn't bad. I just want to be fair and I want to be honest. Definitely not the worst I've seen. We know that. Come on now. Anyway, they climb into the truck and start fucking around, trucking around, if I may.
Boo! You stink!
He's thrilled with her pigtails. And I'm gonna tell you again, it just gives me the ick all over again. He gets most of her clothes off, and then I had to pause to have a fit of laughter and just feel it and let it overtake me. They're in the truck now, mind you, but they did start undressing in the snow earlier. So just keep that in mind as I read this next little bit to you. It's ridiculous. It doesn't matter, like in any context, but in this one specifically, it's just utterly ridiculous. I let my eyes fall down her body. The only clothing she has left is thigh-high white socks with a couple of blue and white stripes at the top. Are you telling me? Now, I'm not the kind of white people that goes out into the woods and hopes to kill another living thing, okay? I'm not that kind of white. I went fishing, but I've never been hunting. I've definitely never been hunting out in the snowy mountains with no underwear and alt-girl Tumblr thigh-highs on under your fucking long underwear and camouflage. Like, if you've been hunting before, can you confirm that this is just absolute silly goosery? Because thigh-high socks. It's a window, Beans. You can't get out. Thigh highs like these are only intended to be donned with a oversized t-shirt while in bed taking selfies for your current love interest. That's it. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. You cannot... You're a fucking menace. I just saw that. Oh my god. So my script ended here because I just couldn't do it and I started laughing and I just saw something so fucking stupid. Hey. We're going off the rails. So they're in the truck and he's parting her like the Red Sea and he's like, listen, I'm hanging on by a thread here. Tiernan, I need you to stop me, okay? Just tell me to stop. She's a kid. She's a kid. She doesn't. Isn't that shocking? She just arches up into him and she's got tears in her eyes. Putting the tear in Tiernan once again. She's like, you know why my parents sent me to you? Because you're nothing for anyone to fear. What the fuck does that mean? And she's just like kissing him all over. Meow, 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 meow. It's so hot, so we have to keep going. She's like, you'd never take my inheritance before I was old enough to claim it. You would never force me to live here or stand up to me. A dejas. And this kind of pisses him off a little bit. And she keeps going. She's like, so don't worry. You won't take anything that you want. You're soft. You're safe. You're weak. My father said so. I was never worried. What is this? He's like, he said that. So he just goes... diving. So we're having a buffet in the truck. That's nice. She's like, I'm sorry, I was joking. He's like, what? She's like, I'm sorry. That's fucking right. I want that little piece of shit to hear his little girl scream my name wherever the hell he is. I want him to know how much she likes me and everything I do. Just in case, you know. So he's
He's eaten. And then he starts getting undressed himself. Great. Yeah, that's good. Nub. Oh, God. I'm so glad you came to live with us, baby. You want me to stop? I do. She says, no, do it some more. He's like, what some more? She's like, lick me. He's like, lick what? And she says it. So we're having fun. I'm making her eat her words about me being weak. She's a kid. Shut the fuck up. Sorry, I forgot this is supposed to be hot. All right. So he's eating and he's also having a little time with himself. Most guys can't multitask. This is very impressive. I'm really grasping at straws here. She's just about to arrive and he stops. Oh, good. Edging. Great. That's great. She's like, no, don't stop, please. She considers DJing and he pins her arms above her head and he says, I would never have taken your inheritance because your money doesn't interest me. It would never occur to me to force you to live here because I don't have to. You like me. That makes one of us. There's too much talking. Y'all need to shut the fuck up. So don't worry. I don't want you to be afraid of me. I hated your fucking slimy parents, but they left me a really pretty piece of ass who likes it when I lick her. I know that it's all in the family, literally all of it. But why are we still talking about her dead parents in the middle of foreplay? I don't understand this. I've seen this one too many times over the past few months. I'm different. I don't know if you can tell. It's more than just the bang. Something in me has forever changed. I don't understand why it's hot to talk about your parents or to hear your parents' voices outside of a door while your brother is doing something to you. I don't understand. I don't get it. Maybe, you know what? I don't have to know everything. I don't have to know everything. So we must continue. Be here. He finger pops her and he's like, don't worry, I know you still have your cherry. I wish we would leave cherries. What do cherries do? You know, like, I just don't know. And he's like, it's okay, I'll get you ready. Uncle Jake, don't stop. Please don't stop. Can you tell that my mood has shifted? Can you tell that I am no longer the same girl that I was 30 minutes ago? Keeps going and she's thrilled and I'm so happy for her. Folds. I fold. I'm out. I think she arrives or either she gets close again and then he sits up and goes to get a gun out of the glove box and she's like, no. She says, no, bear. She's like, raw. Next question. I want to feel it all my first time. She asks him if he usually uses protection and he's like, yes, every time. And then he tells us that the last woman he did bear was his wife 16 years ago, which is precious because that would mean that was when Tiernan was 2.
Mathematical!
She says, I've been in the pit a long time. Me bear. I choose the bear. Ew. Staying alive. Barely. He finally takes his pants off. He just hasn't had his pants off the whole time. And he's so large. Of course he is. So he's like easing it in. And then he's like, I hate to have to do this to her. And then just shoves it in. Guess you didn't hate it enough to not do it though, did you? That's really the problem, isn't it? Calls her a good girl. This is forever. This genre has ruined things for me that I had previously enjoyed a little bit. Not to get too personal on your ass. Yada, 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 you know. Ew. I swear to God, there's an unplanned pregnancy in my future. There's pretty much nothing I can do about it. I kiss her deep, licking her sweat, reveling in the heat inside the cab and tasting my life. All those years ago when I would have died happy doing this to someone for the rest of my life. I look down at Tiernan, her body taking everything I've given, and I swear I want to swallow her whole. What are you, a rattlesnake? I've forgotten what this felt like to actually want to make someone happy. I don't think banging the virgin teenage girl that came to live with you after her parents committed a dual self-unaliving is doing that. I don't think it's doing what you think it did. She arrives, so thankfully he knows he can also arrive now too. Whew, it has been tooth and nail this whole time. Feeling deep inside her, that's great. So they did have the car on the whole time. I guess I just skimmed right past that little tidbit. But anyway, he starts to say something and she's like, don't talk, you'll ruin it. And I agree. Please shut the fuck up. I hate this. And yet here I am. And
he's like, I don't want to leave, but if we run out of gas, we'll run out of heat. And I bet she says, I haven't looked, but I bet she says something like, we can make our own heat. Some stupid shit like that. That's okay. I'm already sweating. Yeah, sitting up. She has her little hand between her legs, looking like she's trying to see something, expecting something to look different. She smiles to herself. Can we do it again? No. And he's instantly hard, like he's a teenager himself again. Am I right? And then he tells her, or he asks her, you ever ride a mechanical bull at the fair? I swear to God, my back hurts from carrying all you jerks around through this terrible hellscape. So she's like at a fair once, and he's like, cool, just like that, and pulls her. I am not doing well. I hurt. Oh, thank God. Okay. I kiss her, slipping inside her once again. All right, listen to me. I planned on making this a whole thing, you know, a whole thing. And I don't think I can. I think I have to make this two-parter, and I'm sorry. You're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait because I have to take a cold shower and maybe even a shot or two of the gin I keep in the house. I don't really drink that much. It gives me migraines, but you know what? To be honest, the pain I'm feeling right now from this book, I prefer the migraine. So we're at 55%. I have 3.5 hours left of reading this book. And the next chapter is another Jake chapter. And I just don't think I can do it. I'm having a hard time. But don't I look nice for me? This is my birthday outfit. So let's see. Let me calm down. Thank you for being here. If you liked it, do all the things. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, engage, blah, blah, blah. Turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2 when it comes out. Again, I hate that I have to split it up, but I think for my sanity, I need to, because I am not only reading Credence, but I'm also reading Where's Molly by H.D. Carlton. And you know what H.D. Carlton novels do to me. So it's a double whammy, and it's coming at me from all sides, which is probably a scene that we're in store for in the future of Credence, honestly. And I just know myself well enough to know I can't do any more tonight. So I'm going to close this now. Like, subscribe, engage. If you feel like supporting me in the work that I do, or you want to throw me a couple bucks so that I can buy myself a coffee or another cozy blanket, all the links to that stuff is below. I have a Bindery, I have a Patreon. I also have a coffee where you can like tip me one time. It's not a monthly thing. And I appreciate it because it's my full-time job now, and I'm very appreciative of that. This is actually fun. Despite what you just saw, me coming completely undone on camera. It is actually fun, and I do actually enjoy it. But one of the very important parts of that is knowing my limit. So I will see you next time for part 2 of Credence by Penelope Douglas.
What do you rate Credence? On a scale of 1 to 5. Look, here, look. 1, 2. Oh my God, 2. 2? Beans!
Oh, bye.